Hello everyone. Thank you ever so much for joining me today for our little tour group. I feel it's only fair to warn you that I am a mermaid. I'm wearing a special amulet at the moment that allows me to temporarily sprout legs, as it were, and pretty much become a human in every possible sense of the word. I can't stay in the water for quite as long without getting little pruny fingers and toes. Yes, and of course I can't go into the ocean until I've let my lunch settle for about 30 minutes, or else I'll get cramps. So as soon as I finish this tour, I will be removing the amulet because, well, I do prefer to be a mermaid, quite honestly. It comes with a variety of perks, and I'll probably address some of those during our tour today. Now, rather than take a boat out into the lagoon, I thought it might be good to stay on the shore and just kind of observe everything. When you do head out onto a boat, there may be some issues that arise. We've had a little gang of hooligan mermen as of late, with a couple mermaids thrown into the mix, and they've caused they wreak some havoc, let's be perfectly honest. So what I thought we would do today is just kind of take a stroll along the shore, and I'll tell you a bit more about the lagoon and the mer culture in general. Does that sound good to everyone? Terrific. Now you'll have to excuse me, we are having a bit of wind today, so you might hear some jangling of the anchors and things of that variety, so just please bear with me. If you need me to speak up, let me know, and I can raise my voice a bit louder, alright? Great. So we do get a lot of boat traffic here. I'm sorry, I'm slurring my words a bit today. It's the dryness, I suppose. We get a lot of boat traffic here. In fact, we see about 5 to 10 boats in the harbour every day, which is quite a bit for Neverland. The Jolly Roger is almost always docked here. Yes, well, Captain Hook rarely goes out onto the seas anymore. I think he's getting a little weary of the sea life. Now, most people ask whether the same rules apply to mermaids, and mermen for that matter, in terms of never growing old from living in this realm. And yes, the same rules do apply. We do not age. However, mer people we find it much more convenient to access other realms because we can reach them via the bodies of water. For instance, we can travel to Wonderland or the Enchanted Forest area, probably within a half a day's swim. So when we are in those particular realms, we do experience the effects of aging, but the second we return to the waters of Neverland, that does halt. Alright. Now, I'll ask you all to leave your questions for the end, and then I will take them at that point. I see a couple of hands being raised. Thank you. The other thing we get quite a bit is, what do mer people eat? And we eat a variety of different things, of course, mainly algae, the occasional shrimp. We like different types of fish, and we actually prepare them. We do not eat anything raw, and that is a common misconception. We have fantastic barbecues about once a month, and one of my favorites personally is smoked salmon. I have a nice smoker in the back of my home. Speaking of homes, we do have an underwater village here. Yes, there aren't any palaces or anything of that variety. They're rather modest homes, actually. And for instance, I live in a one-bedroom cottage under the sea. Yes, primarily made of coral, things like that. And we're able to decorate with a number of accoutrements. I like to decorate personally with seashells and mollusks, things like that. Yes. So now, another question I get quite often, another FAQ, is whether humans are able to mate with merpeople and have children and so on and so forth. And we are, however, the child basically has a 50-50 chance of either being born fully human or fully mer. There is no in-between, though there was one child about 10 years ago who was only born with webbed feet and hands, but that was an exception to the rule. She's quite popular today, yes, she fits right in, but she cannot remain underwater for long periods of time, maybe an hour or so. But in those cases, they do get kind of the best of both worlds in many respects. And let's see, what other questions do we typically get? Well, the lagoon community has been around for about 150 human years, or Earth years, I should say. Before then, we lived further out to sea, and we didn't have access to a variety of different amenities that we have here in Neverland. For instance, we had to make probably a day's journey to get to the spa and things like that. But however, we were a bit closer to Wonderland than we are today. Yes, that's particularly one of my favorite realms. I love the tea parties there. And but we did move more toward the land. We have a lovely reef now. We have a mayor, and we even have a representative who goes on our behalf to the local council that meets once a week, and they bring up mer issues, and if we have any concerns or questions, they'll address them for us in front of the council. Yes. Another thing is, pixie dust does not have the same effect on us that it does on humans. We can possibly hover above the water, but nothing more. We aren't able to fly unless we have large doses of pixie dust. And at that point, pixie dust, silly me, pixie dust, pardon. At that point, we get a little bit dizzy and sometimes have fainting spells, so we have to be careful. Yes. Almost an intoxicated sensation, and it's just not very pleasant. Now, does anybody have any questions? Yes, you in the back. Okay, so you want to know about our tail maintenance. Well, we usually go to the spa and get it maintained about once a month, preferably, though we can do it at home with algae treatments, and we tend to have moisturization issues, hydration, so we have to use a special cream that counteracts the salt. Yes. Well, that's only mainly when we go into the saltier areas of the sea, though, of course. The lagoon doesn't have a high salt content, really. Yes. Yes, you. Okay. Yes, the amulet I'm wearing. It was actually the brainchild of Ursula, believe it or not. Yes, and it made its way here about 50 years ago, the whole concept, and now we have a local witch a sorceress I should say, who enchants them all for us. We each are given one when we turn 5. Yes, so at that point we can choose to come ashore. Up until then, though, at that point at 5, we're able to kind of rest on the rocks and on the beach itself without any negative effects. but at the age of 5 we can fully transition into a human if we so choose, and that's also the point where many Mer people choose to send their children to kindergarten in Neverland itself rather than in the Mer school, if they so choose. That's usually if one of the parents are human, though, I will say that. Yeah, we have about 25 Mer human couples at this point. Yes, that's that I know of. You never know what's going on behind the scenes, do you? Okay, any other questions? No? Oh yes, you, yeah. Well, I can travel at about, well, we travel rather quickly in the water, yes. Anywhere between 75 to 100 miles per hour. We do get around. And we can put a special substance on our tail, but provides even more aerodynamic benefits. Any other questions? That's it. All right. Well, it's been lovely meeting you all, and I welcome you to kind of walk around the lagoon. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to